The PRESERVE trial, which was presented today at American Heart Association and published in the New England Journal of Medicine, was addressing a problem that we continue to have in medicine, which is how can we prevent contrast nephropathy? How can we prevent kidney injury from receiving contrast? So, there have been a number of small to modest-sized trials that have looked at various strategies, and two of them that had at least a theoretic basis for some interest were sodium bicarbonate and N-Acetylcysteine to alkalize the urine to provide some protection against some of the ischemic injury from oxygen radicals. So these treatments still have been used some, even though the aggregate evidence to date has not been particularly supportive of their use. But nonetheless, this is a worthwhile trial, the PRESERVE trial. It ended up being 5,200 patients. It was stopped early actually because of futility, which is important. But it took 5,200 patients and randomized them in an efficient way, in a factorial way, to each of these treatments. So I think that's a strength of the trial, using a factorial design. So half got N-Acetylcysteine versus control, and half got bicarbonate versus control. 5,200 patients. The primary outcome was death, dialysis, or at least a 50% increase in creatinine at 90 days. I also think that's a good outcome. No one can argue that those are events that one would like to avoid. So in fact, the trial showed no difference between the treatments. And this is important. I think this, in a sense, nails down the fact that we should not be wasting time and energy using bicarbonate or N-Acetylcysteine to prevent contrast-related kidney injury. Now, the trial did use hydration because we do know that being dehydrated before contrast exposure is associated with increased risk of kidney injury. So we still encourage people to pre-hydrate, especially anybody who might be dehydrated, limit contrast exposure, limit other nephrotoxins, but we can skip the bicarbonate and the N-Acetylcysteine.